Her motto is onward and upward always, in all ways. She's a fashion influencer, a social media content creator, and a world traveler. I know the selection of a speaker is a most important task for an organization to make. I would personally like to thank the NSA, oh man, Tammy, for selecting a speaker that is a reflection of my daughter. I'm honored to stand before you today and introduce a woman who is on the list of women I most admire. Yes, right there next to Michelle Obama and Oprah Winfrey is Matice Morris, AKA Stutter Bay.
Hello, hello. As Jamie mentioned, I have known her a couple years now, but this conference is our first time actually meeting in person. And it's funny because our hotel balcony rooms are facing each other, and I looked out on the balcony. I was like, I think that's Jamie out there, and then my mom went out there and was like, "Hi, Jamie." She was like, "Hi." So our first meeting in person was pretty funny. I have to admit, I was kind of nervous this morning. It's my first conference I have been to, and when I first had the Zoom with Tammy and Christine talking about this keynote, I told them I looked up the prior keynotes, and I was like, I'm not a person who can pass as a fluent speaker when I'm nervous. I was like, that's not going to happen at all. And they told me this is the National Stuttering Association. Literally everybody's gonna stutter, so you're not alone. So, yeah. After I hung up with them, I immediately text my family group chat, and then I call my mom. After spreading the news of this keynote, I hung up the phone and I cried. It hit me that I was really about to stand in front of my largest audience to date with my stutter and talk for 30 minutes. So I just want to take a moment to say I am proud of myself for standing up here today, and I want to thank the NSA for this opportunity, and also special thanks to Carl Coffey for putting my name out there as well. So after I got all of the tears out the way, I had to pick out my outfit. I'm huge, I like fashion and looking good, and so how did I do? Thank you. And then I finally sat with myself about what to talk about for the keynote. And the main question I usually receive is, how do I build my confidence with a stutter? My answer is always the same. Do the thing that scares you the most. It's never the answer anyone wants to hear, but it's in these scary, hard moments where we see what we're made of, and we see what fear is made of. And most times, we're stronger than our fears by far. I didn't always have this confidence I have now to be able to stand in front of you all. If you would have asked me 5 years ago to do this, I would have said thanks, but no thanks, like I'm good. It was a process to get here. I won't go all the way back to the beginning of the process. I have a book, if you want to know the beginning. I'll talk about that a little later. But I'll start my story fresh out of undergrad, trying to find a job in corporate America. It took me 3 years out of college to get a job. I tried all throughout my senior year, and then for 2 years after I graduated with my bachelor's. Since I couldn't get a job immediately, I figured I would go to graduate school and get my master's. I was still interviewing throughout this time, and I faced some of my hardest critics. I had one person who interviewed me who told me he couldn't hire me because hiring me would be like throwing me into the lion's den, and people I will be communicating with would chew me up. I had a job recruiter tell me he would have a hard time helping me get a job because the employers would think I was mentally challenged. I was facing constant I I was facing constant rejection and adversity. And when I graduated with my master's, I still couldn't get a job. And I had to work for free as an intern with 2 degrees under my belt. That time really humbled me, but I still persevered because I refused to be dependent on my family for the rest of my life. Thankfully, I had them to lean on, and they're all here in the audience today. If y'all can raise y'all's hands and just kind of wave, just my family. I don't think I don't think I ever publicly thank you all. So thank you for all your help. Eventually, after 3 years of letdowns and disappointments, I received my first job offer, and I was beyond excited. But I was nervous. Years of companies doubting me caused me to doubt myself. But I felt the fear, and I did it anyway. I worked there 2 years when another company reached out to me to recruit me to join their company, and this was a higher position and more client contact. I was sheltered a lot in my first job, but my motto has always been onward and upward, always and always. I knew this was the next level, and I refused to let my stutter hold me back. I felt the fear, and I did it anyway. After one interview, I was hired. It was a far cry from the 3 years it took to get my first job. I worked there for 6 years, slowly building up my confidence. One day, after watching my brother's YouTube videos, I had an idea to start a channel of my own. Growing up, I didn't really know anyone who talked like me, So I decided to focus my channel on stuttering, encouraging, and educating stutterers and non-stutterers alike. I probably recorded the first video a good 20 times before I posted it, and after I posted it, I still couldn't go back and watch it for months. I felt the fear, but I did it anyway. Year after year, I was accomplishing something new. Next came the book, and then these scholarships. In 2022, I decided to take some time off and to focus it and to focus on my career again. Last year, after years of putting myself out there, of feeling the fear and doing it anyway, with my stutter, my confidence was at an all-time high. When I started the job hunt again, I still stuttered clearly, but this time I knew that my stutter was different, but there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. In fact, it made me that much better, empathetic, and attentive to others. I believe my inner confidence showed externally, and I received multiple job offers. I went from 3 years to my first job, to get my next job in one interview, to negotiating a higher salary in my current job, to win above the other job offers. In my current position today, I make 6 figures, and I lead. Thank you. And I lead conference calls, trainings, and meetings on a weekly basis with my stutter. This is for the kids who are worried about doing life with a stutter, and this is for the parents who are concerned about their child's future with the stutter. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Do the thing that scares you the most, and you'll see that fear is only a mental mountain, where on the other side is confidence. That's not to say there still won't be hard times and anxious moments. I mean, I'm up here. I had a fan, clipped up here, beforehand, just in case I needed it. So it's not to say it won't be hard, but I conquered my mind by feeling the fear and doing it anyway. I lived by the motto, onward and upward, always and always, and that has made all of the difference in my journey of stutter stepping on the way to the top. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I also want to mention I have a book. How Jamie mentioned, you guys are crying. I don't want to look at you because I don't want to start crying. But let's start crying now. But yeah, I tough not to look at you guys. I knew you guys were gonna cry. But thank you. I have a book, and if you are interested in hearing more about my story, I have some in the back as you leave, and I'll be signing them as well. And if you're not ready to buy today, it's also available through Amazon, and it's called The Product of My Selfishness. The stutter in the story. So, thank you.